Everyone, Bill Nichols here, Bill Nichols TV. Today I'm doing a video that I should have done a couple of weeks ago, but I've been so busy with my travels and everything that I haven't. But I'm gonna go through some stuff with the Autel X-Star Premium. So I already did the unboxing. So this is the Autel X-Star Premium, and you know my initial feelings on it. One, I think it looks exactly like a Phantom 3 Pro, or really, really close to it. It is 4K, 30 frames a second, 1080p, you know, everything else. It's got the gimbal shock mount here, battery, 4 props. These props spin on instead of just clicking on like the new Phantom 4 or the Typhoon or the or the Inspire 1 Pro or any of those. So I took this out. I had some calibration problems. I had some problems using the point of interest mode. Come to find out, that's probably because of the firmware, which makes sense. So today, when I brought it back out, I took time to do the firmware update, and I'll tell you how that works and what you need to do and what you can expect. So when it does the firmware update, it actually updates the controller, the camera, the battery, the flight control, the optical flow. It updates each ESC that controls each engine. It's about a half-hour process. Basically, you put a little micro SD card attached to your computer, go to autelrobotics.com, support, select if you have an X-Star or an X-Star Premium, download the bin file, put it on that card, stick it in here, turn on the controller, turn this on, and it just does the update automatically. Really seamless, but it did take about a half hour. There's one part in particular where it's upgrading the flight system, and this continuously beeps, a loud beep. You can't really turn it off, not that I could see. A little bit annoying, but it went through flawlessly, did the firmware update. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to first do a calibration. It's very similar to how you do the calibration on the Phantom. Then I'm gonna take it out for our first flight, run through the flight modes on this video. So let's go ahead and do a calibration. All right, so to get started, I've turned on the controller. I turned on the X-Star Premium. I've now got the app, it's connected, and we're going to go into Start. Then from there, we're going to go to Calibrate the Compass. So it says to hold the aircraft 1 meter or higher and rotate it horizontally. So I'm gonna do that by spinning myself, just like I would with the Phantom. And it says to go here. Calibration succeeded. Okay, so that's awesome. I did have problems calibrating this originally, but I think it's because the app and the firmware, they were not in the same version. So the firmware on the control on the X-Star X-Craft Premium itself, and then on the X-Star Premium and the app version were not the same. So calibration succeeded. That's great. So I'm going to go in. I'm going to look at the camera options really quick that we have. So if we go in, it's on auto right now. Let's go to manual. So with manual, I can select, you know, my ISO, my shutter. And let's look at video. Okay, so we are in video now. It's recording, let's not record yet. Let's go ahead and go into the picture settings for video. We're gonna say mode. We'll stay at 1080p for the style. We'll keep it as standard. Let's go down to color, there's none. So there's none, nostalgic, art, beach, classic, and vivid. So let's leave it on none. I'm not going to use an ND filter on this today because I'm going to do a quality comparison between this and the Phantom 4. I'm gonna keep the ND filters off both of them. I'm gonna shoot them both at like 1080p 60. See how that goes. So we're at NTSC, style is standard, color is none, white balance is set to daylight, sunny, which that's where we are. I am going to turn a histogram on. So the histogram is going to be a chart that's going to show the light level, and I really want to keep that kind of in the middle, a nice little curve that goes up in the middle, comes down towards the shadows and the highlights. And I'll do a video later on explaining more of the histogram. So let's close that. Let's go into the modes for video here, into the settings. You know what we'll do today? We'll just leave this on auto. Wow, so I have this on standard. You can see the histogram up here in the right here. That histogram looks good. That's basically how you want your histogram to look. Kind of a graph that goes up in the middle, comes down on the edges. All right, everyone. Well, shortly after I did the calibration, a whole bunch of people came over to the park that I was at. They were having a party. There were a lot of kids running around. Wasn't a safe place to fly. So I packed up. I moved to somewhere else. I'm in a new park, actually at a school. It's summer vacation, so nobody's gonna be around here. So now I'm gonna go through some of the flight modes with this. We did the calibration. The calibration was successful. I'm gonna go ahead and take off I'm going to run through the point of interest mode. I'm going to run through the waypoint mode. I'm going to go through follow me really quick. And then from there, we'll do some comparison of the video quality between the Phantom and the Autel X-Star Premium. So to get started here, this controller, like I said before, it's actually a pretty good controller. So it looks a lot like the Phantom. The antennas are a little bit different of an orientation. They're flat opposite. And then you have a couple of additional buttons here. So I'm going to see if we can see this on the screen. So here you've got a hold to start motors and a hold to take off and land. So I'll actually use those now. Otherwise, you can start it and take off just like you would with the Phantom by bringing your sticks to the center and then just, going up with the, basically you can take off just the same if you wanted to by holding your sticks to the center and then taking off. Now what it's supposed to do when it takes off, if it's supposed to take off and go to a 10-foot hover when you use these buttons. So right here, we'll just start. We'll press this hold to start motors. Now you can see the motors have started. We'll press hold to take off and land. So hold to start motors is the leftmost button. Hold to take off and land is the button next to it. So there you go. And I'm going to go ahead and click start on the app. And we're going to go, we're at ISO 100, 1/800th of a second. We're just going to go ahead and start recording some video. I have this set to color none. And it's still a really punchy color. You can see the histogram. The histogram right up here looks good. So it's pretty well balanced. Our settings that we're talking about are right here. So we've got an hour 39 left on the card. Remember, it does come with a 64 gig SanDisk Extreme card. That's actually really nice. We're recording at ISO 100, 1/800th of a second. It's at EV0, which means it's not overexposed. Got 99% of the battery left. So to get started, let's just get up and get to some altitude. I think what we'll do is this building that is being built, so right over here in the view, make this building right here our point of interest target. So to do that, let's fly over to it. So I'm gonna do this the same way that I do on the Phantom. I'm just gonna get over to the building. Oh, by the way, for white balance on this, I have this set to daytime or to sunny. So we'll rotate the gimbal camera down. We're gonna go right over the middle of it. And you can see with this battery, this is a 4,900 milliamp hour battery. We have about 18 minutes of flight left, so not really as long as the Phantom 3 or the Phantom 4. I do believe that they make a bigger battery. I'll have to check on that. So to get started here, we're going to go and hit this fly button. We're gonna go to orbit. That's what it calls the point of interest. We're gonna say, okay. Set the orbit radius. So let's set this out to about 150 feet. And just like I would with the Phantom, I'm gonna look around and see if there's anything really tall. So there's not. So it's saying that the return to home, or there we go. So now it's gonna go clockwise upon completion hover. We're gonna tell it just to do like an infinite number of laps. So the number of laps, if I was to set it to 1, then I can tell it what to do after that. Do I want to have it hover, or do I want to have it come back to here? So I can send it out to do a POI, set my radius, tell it to do 1 lap. It'll do that 1 lap. Then once it completes, it'll stop and come back to home. I'm just going to have it hover. And then we will start. Let's bring this out, and it's going to tell us on the left stick, we can rotate left and right and change the altitude. And on the right stick, we can adjust it, orbit adjust radius up and down, or we can make it go counterclockwise or clockwise to the right. So on the right stick, if we go right or left, we should be able to change the speed that it's going. So right now you can see it's going 4.5 miles an hour. Let's go ahead and go to the right. Now we're adjusting the speed. So we can see it's gonna need 82 seconds. Let's change the gimbal view here. It's going to need 82 seconds. It's going about 17 miles an hour for a 150-foot radius. And so right now it's going clockwise. Now if I move left, we can start to change the direction and slow it down. So you can see it's now going 10, 11, 12. Now it's going the opposite way. And then in the same way, so let's slow it down to about maybe 10 miles an hour or so. And now I can adjust the radius, so I can subtract the orbit radius. So we see that the orbit radius right now is 150 feet. If I pull down, we can see the orbit radius decreasing. So now it's only at 109 feet, right? And that'll make it shorter to have to go around. Just like on the Phantom, you can do that. And then I can push up and change that orbit radius as well. When I first did this, I didn't think these controls were available because when you show this expanded menu here, it shows you the left stick at first, which now I can change altitude, right? So let's go ahead and go up. So you see the altitude changing, which now I need to change my gimbal rotation to keep that, you know, in the center of the frame. And I can bring it down, and I can also rotate it, which I don't want to do. I just want to leave it right where it is. So what I said a second ago is when I first started the first orbit mode that I did with this, I didn't see that I could change the speed or the direction. So what you can actually do is you can swipe right here so that you can see your right stick and your left stick controls. All right, so that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and hit exit. It's going to go into hover. And now let's just bring it back towards us. All right, so as it comes back, I think the next thing that we'll do here is let's go into the waypoint mode. So we're still up there. We only have about 15 minutes. So I want to make sure that we can get through these. So let's go back to fly again. Let's choose waypoint. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create a new route. We're going to say that the waypoint location is where the aircraft is. So you can do this a couple different ways. You can draw a path on the map. You can draw points on the map, or you can take the aircraft to where you want to go. That's what we're going to do right now. So let's just get started. We'll mark some random waypoints. So let's make that one building the first waypoint. So about where the building is. So right here, let's mark that waypoint. Let's go out and go over here to where I know the library or their kind of multi-purpose room is, which is this big building here. Let's mark that waypoint. So we've got two, let's rotate out. Let's go over here to this next building. Let's mark this waypoint. Let's go out to this playground. Let's mark this waypoint. Okay, so now we have these waypoints marked. So let's click finish. Upon completion, tell it to hover or to come back home. For this mode, let's tell it to come back home. So let's click on go home. Then let's go ahead and start. And it's gonna say, make sure that the surroundings are safe, that nothing's over this return to home altitude. It has 98 feet set by default. Looking around, there's nothing close to 98 feet here. So we're just gonna click on done. We're going to say okay. And it says with the right stick, I can adjust the speed by going up and down. And I believe that's the only one that I have. That is it. So the one thing on the waypoint here, which you'll see from the video, because it's going through and it's recording it right now, is down on the map you see your waypoints, but it's going to travel to a waypoint, then it's going to get to that waypoint, then change directions, and then go to the next one. So it's going to the next waypoint right now, and it looks like I can adjust the camera while it's going there. So I knew that I could adjust the gimbal, but it looks like I can't adjust the rotation of the camera. But the one thing that happens regardless if I'm adjusting it or not is once I get to that end of that waypoint and I'm going to the next, it's going to rotate to face the next waypoint. I would like it to not do that. I would just like to have control of the camera. So if you could do a waypoint mode where it could just get to each point, but you could control the camera on the way there, it would give you much more of an ability to create some cinematic shots. But other than that, the waypoint seems to work pretty well. I can change the speed. So if I push up, it's going to go faster to the next waypoint. And now you can see as it's going to the playground here, I can rotate to the left. And I can come back and rotate to the right. And now it's going to come back. So now it's completed the waypoint mission, and now you can see it's going home, and I can cancel that go home right now. So it's turning to come home, and here it comes. Tells us it's going about 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 miles an hour. I can see it directly overhead. Great, it's there. So I'm going to cancel the go home. So I've canceled it. Now I'm going to bring it over. I'm going to bring it down. We're going to do one more mode here. And now we're going to do the follow me mode. So the follow me mode, go to fly. I'm going to take my shoes off because I'm going to jog a little bit. We're going to hit follow. Distance to aircraft 29 feet. So I'm going to have it back up. I'm going to get it focused. It's pretty well focused on me right there. Let's hit start and just have it follow me. Same thing, you adjust the return to home altitude. So now as we go, okay, now it looks like it's starting to follow me. So let's just take a little jog over here. I'm gonna jog out further in this field. I'm gonna see if I can get it closer to me. Doesn't look like I can get it closer, but now let's go back. So it is turning to follow me. And I'm just gonna run back towards the camera. It's maintaining the same distance that it was. All right, let's exit this. Let's bring it back. Okay, so one thing that I have noticed is that if I'm going forward, I'm going to the side and then I let go of the stick, it has quite a bit of inertia and it goes for a while before it stops. So like on the Phantom, when you're in GPS mode, you let go of the stick, it stops, it hovers pretty quick. With this, when you let go of the stick, it seems like it does go for, just a little bit longer. So you want to be aware of that. Overall, the control, the orbit mode was really cool. Pretty much the same controls, a little different style of controls than the Phantom, but all the controls were there. You could change altitude, you could change radius, you could change direction, you could utilize the camera, pan up and down. You could even rotate it during POI mode, which I didn't do. And then for the Waypoint, you could control the camera direction, right? So you could rotate the craft like it was on a course lock in between waypoints. But the only disadvantage there was when it got to the end of that waypoint, it would take over and it would rotate to the next one. I would like to see it stay in that same direction and just go to those waypoints no matter which way you're pointing. That'd be awesome, because then you could build a series of waypoints around what you wanted to see, and you could just get really cinematic shots the entire time. So one example there would be maybe you're filming a running scene or something at a track, and you could do waypoints all the way around the track, and then you could control your speed in the camera direction while it goes from waypoint to waypoint. Fortunately, it's not going to work that way because it does rotate at each waypoint. In the follow me mode, first didn't look like it was working. It's working just fine. So I'm going to take it back up. I'm going to get some pictures of where I am right now. They're all going to be 1080p, 60 frames a second, set to none for the color mode, and then none for the color style. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the Phantom. I'm not going to use ND filters on either one of them. I want to get a really true comparison. Then I'll put that footage side by side in here. So overall, I'd say that the X-Star Premium, really to me, it's nearly identical to a Phantom 3. I will say that the controller is a little bit better. This little screen right here gives you a good amount of data that's actually very usable. So that's nice to see. I think flying wise, they fly about the same. The modes are slightly different. When it lands, like right now it's on level ground and it almost fell over. The skids aren't very long. So you could add a couple popsicle sticks or something. I'd like to see that a little bit different. The camera looks nearly exactly the same. It comes with a 64 gig card. I think it's the same size as same price as a Phantom 3 Professional. So I would say if you had some fundamental reason that you don't want to buy a DJI product, this is a great alternative. People say that this is more durable. I don't really know. I think they're both built about equally the same. They really look nearly the same. So it's really kind of a 6 to 1 half dozen the other. I think they're both great. The Autel doesn't seem to have really anything up on the Phantom 3. The Phantom 3 doesn't seem to have any advantages over the Autel. The one thing that I will say is that the Autel Robotics site, they have some really good videos on there, and it's a very clean site. The videos are really well produced, and they run you through the basics. I'd like to see all of the manufacturers do that. They really are kind of leading the pack in that area, and from what I've heard, the support is killer. I've had good results from DJI support, so I haven't had an issue before. I've only ever had to call them twice, but I've heard that Autel has great support. They do say that they have US-based support open 7 days a week, so that's really nice. I don't really have anything to complain about. I mean, it looks to me like it's probably every bit of the drone that a Phantom 3 Pro is. I wish that they'd be a little bit more innovative in the design, really from the controller, with the exception of the screen, to the craft. They nearly copied DJI. They did a really good job of it. Their app is very similar. The options and everything else that are available. So I'd like to see a bit more innovation there. I think maybe in their next crafts they will. They probably are using this to build a name for themselves and then go from there. They have some larger things like an Autel Kestrel, but I'd like to see more innovation here. It looks like they do good work, and just see what they can build. And the last remark that I want to make about the X-Star Premium, so overall it's a great quadcopter. The one other thing is, in one of my videos before, I did a video on how to get smooth panning shots with the Phantom, how you would go through and you would change the change how quickly it reacts. I don't see a way to do that on here. Digging through the menu, I see flight control settings. Like I do see gimbal pitch speed. I see command stick mode. I don't see a way to change the speed at which it's reacting, right? So the gain or the expo settings like you do in the Phantom 4. So I would like to see that as well, because I use that like crazy on my Phantom so that I get really nice smooth panning shots. So you do have the adjustable sticks on here like on the Phantom. I showed everybody that trick, but I don't have a way to make it react slower to stick input so that this is effectively, like an S-curve, like a ramp. So that's one drawback. That's about the only other drawback to this. Overall though, great quadcopter. I just took it out and got some shots. We'll compare those against the Phantom. So let's take it up. Let's get some idea of the quality. Here, I'm gonna fly this around, then I'm gonna do pretty much the same course of the Phantom 4. Then we'll do a comparison at the end. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. You keep watching, I'll keep making videos, and I'm giving away a Think Tank Helipack Inspire $340 case once I hit 4,500 subscribers. Look in the cards that are on this video, you'll see it pop up there, but then also look right here, go to this video. All that you need to do is like the video, comment on it, and make sure that you're a subscriber. I'm gonna draw a random comment at 4,500 subscribers, and I'm gonna pick somebody, I'm gonna ship it out. Listen to the video and read the video rules, just because I've got a couple things about it being US, non-US if you're willing to pay for shipping. But take a look on there. I'm gonna give away that case. It's an awesome giveaway, and it's my way of saying thanks to everybody. So thanks again. You keep watching, I'll keep making videos. Have an awesome day.